It is a new year and a great time for parents to shift focus, think about what you do well as a parent, instead of dwelling on weaknesses. We spoke with a husband-wife duo with 7 children who want to help parents identify their strengths. Brandon and Annalyn Miller joined us to talk about their new book that explores steps to becoming an incredible parent. Working parents, we all have a tough job, and right now many are working longer hours along with juggling distance learning and childcare. What is the solution that you guys have?
You know, it's an amazing concept. It's simple but easy to understand, and it's strength-based parenting. And the whole concept is, like you mentioned, rather than dwelling on what you don't do well, putting more emphasis on the things that make you incredible.
I hear that because as a parent, a lot of times we're like, this is what I did wrong, or am I doing this right? So you're kind of flipping that around, that perspective, and focusing on strengths. And that's what you mean by strength-based parenting?
Correct.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's so easy to get caught up in looking at what other parents are doing and then detract from what I do and decide, oh gosh, look, I feel like I'm doing the most I can. But for many of us during 2020, we just felt like we were, running out of steam and experiencing frustration. So this approach really it gives you permission to be your best at what you're great at without trying to fall into this idea of, well, I want to be like those parents I see on social media or these ones I saw on a conference. It's really embracing the best parts of who you are as a parent.
I think that's an interesting concept because a lot of times we are questioning ourselves and thinking like, what am I doing right? What am I doing? It feels like everything I'm doing is wrong. And in this book, you talk about imposter syndrome. So what is that and how does that affect parents?
Going off what Brandon just said, the basis of it is us going out and looking at what someone else might be doing on a Facebook or Instagram account. And, a lot of times we go, oh my gosh, that's awesome. Now I'm going to try and copy it and bring it home. And we realize, wow, this is difficult. This is going essentially against the grain of who I am, but you're trying to make it fit. And it leads to that frustration. It leads to that, I would say, even, conflict with
almost exasperation.
Exasperation
Right.
almost. And you find yourself in that hamster wheel where this takes us out of that and appreciating what others do well and appreciating what you do well, what your partner does well, and working together in collaboration, and it's a whole different perspective of appreciating what others do well and also recognizing that we all have that as in ourselves, parenting our kids. We all have those strengths in parenting.
Well, you talk about we see things when we're looking at pictures and social media. We see what our friends or other people in the neighborhood, how they're doing things, and it looks, they're so great at that. How do we stop that self-judgment? Do we just say, hey, don't focus on it? Because we do judge ourselves, let's be honest.
We do. So one of the things that I actually tell people is resign from the position of self-judgment. And one way to do that is to be very, and that's why, when you take this book, there's actually an assessment. And if you don't put the energy towards something else, like you mentioned, it is very attractive to just go and look and self-judge yourself. But when you can take the assessment in this book, take that energy that you were putting there and put it towards learning your strengths, putting yourself in that place more often in the day. Now, granted, there's the stuff that all parents have to do that
Right.
we may not be super strong in, but it's all about emphasizing spending more time in the area that you feel strong in, and seeing what it produces, the joy, the energy. Because what we found too is when you spend more time in that, in those areas, you do have more energy at the end of the day. You don't feel like, you just ran a marathon. I know for me, we do have 7 kids, and there were days where I just felt like, I don't know if I could do this tomorrow. The day seemed like it was 28 hours. So do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I would just say, I talked to a dad the other day who was talking about building a treehouse for his kids. And for a moment, I was like, gosh, I wish I could do that. And I thought, if I did that, I might kill my kids. That would not be a good idea. And to marvel at, hey, that dad's awesome. He can do that. But what do I do? And I love coaching my kids. I love being in that space.
Yep.
And I have permission to be that dad, the
Be
one
that
that I'm
dad.
great at. And that's give parents permission. Be the best parent you can be without trying to be who they are And it's simple, but so liberating to embrace that concept.
Great advice, guys. I want to tell everybody that you can find some of this practical parenting advice and their book on AnnalynBrandon.com.